My name is Emily Carter, and until last week, my life was painfully normal. Work, home, sleep, repeat. Nothing exciting ever happened in our quiet little town in Oregon until the night everything changed. It was Thursday, 9:43 p.m. I was driving home from my late shift when I saw something that made me slam the brakes hard. A man was standing in the middle of the empty road. No car, no flashlight, no expression. Just standing. I rolled my window down an inch. "Sir, are you okay?" He didn't move. His eyes were locked onto mine like he'd been waiting for me specifically. Chills ran up my spine. Then, without warning, he stepped closer, into the glow of my headlights. That's when I saw it. He was injured, badly. Blood on his shirt, dirt on his hands, breathing unsteady. I reached for my phone to call 911, but the man instantly whispered, "Don't call anyone. They'll find me." I froze. "Who?" I asked. He leaned closer, voice trembling. "The same people who are coming for you next, Emily." My throat went dry. I had never seen this man before in my life. "How do you know my name?" I whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled a small object from his pocket, a silver pendant, pressed it into my hand and said, "Whatever happens, don't lose this, and don't trust anyone who asks about me." Before I could ask anything else, he stepped back, stumbled once, and ran into the dark forest beside the road. Gone. Just like that. I sat there shaking, the pendant cold and heavy in my hand. I didn't know it yet, but that night was the beginning of a story that would flip my entire life upside down. A story of secrets, of betrayal, of people hiding in plain sight, and a truth I wasn't ready to uncover. I drove home with trembling hands, constantly checking my rearview mirror, half expecting headlights to appear behind me. But the road stayed empty. When I finally reached my house, the first thing I did was bolt the door and turn on every light I had. My dog, Max, ran toward me, sensing my panic. "Hey, buddy," I whispered, kneeling down to pet him. "I'm okay, I think." But I wasn't okay, not even close. I kept staring at the silver pendant the man had given me. It wasn't just jewelry. It felt important, heavy, like it held a secret inside. I examined it under the kitchen light, a tiny engraved symbol I'd never seen before, almost like a crest. That's when I heard it. A knock. Sharp. Quick. Too soon. My heart stopped. No one ever visited me this late. I tiptoed toward the peephole, praying it was a neighbor or maybe a package drop. It wasn't. It was two men in black jackets, standing extremely still on my porch. One of them spoke loudly, like he knew I was on the other side. "Ma'am, we're with the county sheriff's department. We need to ask you a few questions." "Sheriff's department? Sure, maybe." But something felt wrong. Their uniforms didn't match. Their badges looked cheap. And why were two officers knocking on doors this late at night? I didn't open. Did something happen? I called out through the door. Yes, one said instantly, two instantly. A man escaped from a mental health facility nearby. We believe you may have seen him. My blood ran cold. Were they talking about him? The man from the road? Did he approach your vehicle? The other asked. Did he give you anything? That second question made my stomach drop. How would they know that? I stayed quiet. Ma'am, it's important you open the door, the first man said. We want to make sure you're safe. Max started growling at the door, low and threatening. That told me everything I needed to know. I backed away slowly, holding his collar. Sorry, I said, forcing calm into my voice. I didn't see anyone. Good night. The men didn't leave immediately. They whispered to each other, and I caught only one sentence through the door. She has it. I almost gasped. A second later, I heard footsteps leaving my porch. I waited 5 full minutes before checking the window. Their car wasn't a sheriff's vehicle. It was a black SUV with no plates. They weren't police. They were looking for the man and for the pendant. And they knew I had it. I sank to the floor, shaking, clutching the pendant like it was my last lifeline. This wasn't random. This wasn't an accident. I didn't know what that man dragged me into. But I knew one thing. I couldn't trust anyone. Not even the people who claimed to be protecting me. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the man's face. His blood, his fear, the urgency in his voice when he said, "Don't trust anyone who asks about me." And those fake officers, they didn't just ask about him. They asked about the pendant I was now too scared to even put down. By morning, I had made one decision. I had to find out who that man was. I couldn't go to the police. I couldn't talk to neighbors. I couldn't call anyone. I had to do this alone. I drove to the spot on the road where I first saw him, hoping maybe I'd find something. A piece of clothing, footprints, anything. But everything looked normal, too normal. The dirt looked freshly disturbed, like someone had swept over it. Someone had erased evidence. I felt a knot form in my stomach. As I turned to leave, something shiny caught my eye in the grass a few feet away. A phone, half buried, cracked, dirty, but still there. My heart pounded as I picked it up. It wasn't locked. Only one contact was saved. Just one. EC. My initials. I felt dizzy. Why would my initials be the only contact in this stranger's phone? Before I could think, the screen lit up. A message. A new one. From an unknown number. Did you get away? I froze. The message wasn't meant for me, but the phone was in my hand. Another message came in instantly. We're tracking the pendant. Don't let her keep it. Her. Me. Oh God. They were tracking me through the pendant. My hands shook so hard I nearly dropped the phone. I backed away, breathing fast. The forest suddenly felt too quiet, like someone was watching me. Without thinking, I threw the phone as far as I could into the trees. But then, my heart nearly exploded out of my chest. A voice behind me, "Emily, stop!" I spun around so fast I almost fell. It was him, the man from the road, not dead, not gone, standing right there, covered in dirt, blood dried on his face, clothes ripped, but alive. He held his hands up like he didn't want to scare me. "Don't run," he said softly. "Please, I'm not here to hurt you." I stepped back anyway. "What's happening?" I whispered. "Who are you? Why are people pretending to be police? Why is this pendant being tracked?" He swallowed hard, like he was trying to choose the right words. "My name is Nathan Hale," he said, "and what I'm about to tell you is going to put both of us in more danger than you realize." I clutched the pendant tighter. "Then tell me," I said, "because I'm already in danger." Nathan looked over his shoulder, scanning the trees. "They're coming," he whispered. "We don't have much time." He stepped closer. "Emily, that pendant you're holding, it doesn't just track you." He took a breath. "It identifies you." My stomach dropped. "Identifies me for what?" Nathan met my eyes. "For a program you were never supposed to know existed." My pulse hammered in my ears. "A program?" I repeated. "What program? I've never signed up for anything." Nathan shook his head. "You didn't sign up. Your parents did." I froze. "My parents? They're dead, Nathan. What are you talking about?" He stepped closer, his voice low but urgent. "Emily, your parents were part of something called Project Silverline, a classified government initiative. They were researchers, brilliant ones, and you—" He stopped, swallowed, and continued. "You were born into it." A cold wave washed over me. "Born into it? That makes no sense," I snapped. "My parents worked regular jobs. My mom was a teacher. My dad owned a hardware store. They weren't scientists." Nathan looked pained. "That's what you were told. They lived under new identities. They left the project when they discovered what Silverline was really doing." "And what was it doing?" I demanded. He looked me dead in the eyes. "Creating people like you." My breath caught in my throat. "What does that even mean?" Nathan glanced around again, more anxious now. "Emily, Silverline wasn't studying adults. They were studying children. Children with unique cognitive patterns, memory capacities, and certain genetic markers." I stared at him, my voice barely a whisper. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying you're not just a random woman living a quiet life. You're one of the few surviving subjects of a project that was shut down decades ago. The pendant." He nodded toward my hand. It activates a dormant identification system connected to your biometric profile. It's proof of who you are. But why now? Why me? Why did they find me?" Nathan took a shaky breath. "Because someone reactivated Silverline. The people hunting you now, they want to restart the program, and they need original subjects. And what do they want with you? I asked. He hesitated. I was a researcher for them, Nathan said quietly. A data analyst. I found out what they were planning, and I escaped with something they desperately want. What? He locked eyes with me. You. The world blurred. My knees nearly gave out. Why me? I whispered. What makes me so important? Nathan shook his head. I didn't have enough time to decode everything. They destroyed most of the files before I could. But from what I gathered, you're listed in the earliest records as a prime subject, the last one alive.